Back in Chestnut Hill, 3-1 lead for Boston College. Eagles got some great goaltending early on from Bailey Calloway.
And a goalie that hasn't played, or started rather, in a year, getting tested early. Couple of great stops off the jump. Trial by fire. That's the best way to get reacclimated to playing hockey again. And then the BC goals. Olivia Maffeo got it started. Mackenzie Podewell, tic-tac-toe. Get one by Calloway. Of course, that's just excellent passing. Calloway out of position, but then the barrage from BC. Look at this shot from Maddie Murphy from way downtown. Lottanen there with the glove, just missed the puck. And then Kate Ham over to Jadar Known, up in the top bin, and BC with 2 straight goals to open up the 2-goal advantage. Now this is where things will become very critical for Katie Crowley and co. Can you finish, right? We see the face-off discrepancy there. That's been a big problem for BC all year long. We also talked about in that first period, Lewis, BC deteriorates in terms of goal scoring as the game progresses. This will be a very, very key test, I think, whether even if BC scores 2 more goals and wins by 4, right? Can they close it out? Can they keep it up? And can they work through fatigue with this young group of players?
Eagles will start on the power play after the too many players on the ice penalty against Maine to close out that first period. Eagles 0 for 1 so far. Their second special teams opportunity on the power play. Rusinski trying to rim that one around, gets it back and clears it down the ice. Calloway is going to play the hop behind and leave it for Madeline Murphy. Murphy, one of the goal scorers for Boston College in that first frame. 8th goal of the year, 20th point for the freshman. Moves by Thomas. Stick save there by Ryan as he came in.
Ava Thomas, such an agile skater, and you see it there. And we talk about fatigue with this team. She's one of the players that Coach Crowley brought up this week that, hey, she's been fatigued virtually every game because of how much she's played. You can't afford to not have her on the ice at times, especially down the stretch when a team is trying to get back into it.
Shot and save there by Calloway. Great pressure by Kendall Sunby, the sophomore from Wisconsin. It's a 3-time Molly Engstrom Award winner out of the state of Wisconsin. Thomas with some time and space in front. Long pass here to the near side for Sammy Tabor. Tabor pops it up to herself, was trying to cut through the slot, but great defense in the middle there and clear it all the way down.
Another great kill in progress from Maine here. That first one, really good defense in the slot. They haven't needed a ton of it here because BC just hasn't been able to penetrate.
It's a Black Bears team that came into the weekend top 20 in the country on the penalty kill. Gave one up against Boston College on Friday. Brought that percentage down a little bit, but still a strong penalty kill here for the Black Bears. Another pass here through the middle, cut off by Arnone. Deflects back to the stick of Michaud, who fires a shot. Calloway tried to pop it up off her stick, but taken away here by Griswold. Back again. Now Boston College struggling to find those connecting passes. Another pass back out to the left side. Podewell feeding it back through the middle. Looking for the opportunity was ultimate. Well, Boston College now stuck in the mud a bit. Sunby retrieves it. Sunby, who played in 33 games, led all Maine defenders in goals and points a year ago. Was Hockey East Defender of the Month last December. Black Bears just trying to keep possession here and play through the center of the ice. Fetch gets there first.
For as good as Maine's forecheck has been in the last couple of minutes, BC's been very, very loose with the puck, especially in the defensive end, and that's allowed Maine to have more second chance opportunities.
Jacob shot saved by Calloway.
Stephanie Jacob kind of controlled in that first period by this BC defense. Of course, the 2 goals in the win for Maine on Friday. And here, gee, it's a really good look at Calloway. One of the better ones, certainly in this period, but even in the last couple of minutes going back to the end of the first. Calloway, my own takeaway with her, settling in. Really, really comfortable, it seems, like she hasn't skipped a beat.
Chance here again from the outside. That one deflect off the body. It looked like Connor and Lily Fetch got in the way of that one before it saw Callaway. Well, forecheck leading to some opportunities here for Maine. That's what allowed them to have success offensively on Friday. Thomas gets by the defender, feeds it across. That's off the stick of Ryan. Thomas tracks it down on the near side. Passes it back out for Kaylin Flynn. To Murphy. Bobbled it a moment. And that one's blocked. Flynn and Murphy will have to go back for the Eagles. Another chance for Murphy through the middle of the ice. Will skate in, drops that one back for Connor. Connor, high slot shot, just gonna whistle wide of Ryan. Well, Eagles now generating some offense here. Taken away, fed back to the near side. Good speed by Rusinski. Excuse me, that's actually Gracie Hansen who gets in. Hansen, great speed, got there to clear off the icing.
Nice recovery from this BC defense. Odd man rushes have favored Maine so far in this game, even though they've only got one goal to show for it.
Tabor fires that one wide. Arnone pinching in. Tabor behind the net, fought off by Sandilands. Sandilands, good job getting it back to Curl. It's these extra effort plays right now in this second period that are helping Maine keep possession against Boston College. Now we say 2-goal leads, one of the hardest to hold in hockey. Got to think if you're the Black Bears and Molly Engstrom, you just get one back and you put the pressure fully back on Boston College.
Absolutely. Momentum has been with the Eagles since that 2-goal run at the end of the first period, and I think that the biggest thing that Maine can do is keep reloading on the forecheck, right? BC's been very loose with the puck, especially in the defensive end, as we mentioned, but if Maine keeps reloading, keeps getting a player ahead of the puck into the offensive zone, you can get your scorers back and start getting pucks on net.
Black Bears 10-15-3, 2-game winning streak coming in. Shot off the body, looked like of Callaway. Now their feed here, but off the stick of Sunbeam.
Even there, we talk about rebound control. BC's been very loose in that defensive zone. It's to some extent also on Callaway with the rebound control, right? And a good save here. We talk about that with Grace Campbell, though, sometimes, where rebound control kind of falls by the wayside. Obviously, that is, equally on the defense at times, but make no mistake that it's, I think, critically important against a team like Maine because of how well they crash the net. And even here off the mask, tough to control. He kind of hits her in the helmet there.
It's using every part of the equipment.
Oh, yeah.
Deflects just wide on Callaway on the follow. Another feed through the low slot, but just under the stick, looking there. It looked like Stephanie Jacob was the one set up. Eagles again on the forecheck. Mara able to create the turnover. Pass right back off the side of the net. Ryan almost lost it as it went under the stick and through the crease, but able to cover it up.
Let's give Madison Ryan her flowers. She's had a really good start to this game since relieving Kia Lottinen late in the first period after the couple of goals. And I think the biggest thing we talk about are the two young goaltenders that haven't seen a ton of run behind goalies that play a lot for both Molly Engstrom and Katie Crowley is see shots early, right? You see those 7 saves. Those have all come pretty quickly from BC onto the Maine goaltender. And so I think just seeing more shots early on, that trial by fire we talk about, that's helped these two goaltenders settle in.
7 saves for Ryan in the early going here in relief. Ham trying to feed it across. Babby was tangled up and couldn't get to the puck in time. Now a chance here for Podwell. Trying to get the offense going here for the Black Bears. Lone goal for Maine is Mackenzie Podwell's power play goal in the first period.
The second line for BC out with Ham, Devlin, Babby, and then, of course, Flynn and Murphy on the back end, I think is, as important, if not at times more important than that first line, right? That sounds odd when you got Ava Thomas on that first line. You've got Emma Connor at center. But Alana Devlin here is such a gamer, such a physical, gritty player, right? Talk about that with Olivia Maffeo as well as she comes onto the ice. This is a very, very critical unit to try and get goals from those other depth of players.
Again, it's Maffeo winning the race. Backhand shot, trying to feed it to the near side for Ham. Just couldn't connect. And now Border will try to skate free up the near side. Border works her way into the circle, stops on a dime, and now feeds it to the top of the point, but errant pass going to go all the way back.
Good opportunity to change for BC, rest, get some fresh legs on. We talk about fatigue, right? This is the part of the game where it somewhat starts to set in, right? Tired bodies beginning to fly around out there. Can Maine capitalize?
Brunette shot that one between the legs of Callaway, but because of the momentum, kind of Bailey able to kick that one away as that one goes across the crease. Well, just excellent net minding here so far by Bailey Callaway. Eagles trying to escape their own defensive zone. That's Kira Dempsey. Fed back to Brunette. Brunette with some space trying to rifle that one. And Callaway again just trying to make her presence known. Comes out of her crease. Mofeo trying to look for the outlet here to Thomas. Thomas trying to dangle by the defender, Sandilands. Thomas trying to cut back towards the wall. Sandilands does a good job using her body in front of Ava Thomas.
Physicality always so important when playing defense. Gritty defense there from Sandilands. I guess one of the most agile and quick skaters in the country, not much less the Hockey East.
Shea back on the near circle. Trying to get by Jade Arnone. Shea keeps it on the forehand, fed in front. That one just wide on the one-timer from Jacob. Curl from the outside. Little shot pass down low. It's taken by Emma Connor. Connor has been outstanding blocking shots this season for the Eagles, up to 62 coming into today. Another opportunity, and it's covered up here. (3-1) lead for Boston College. Bailey Callaway standing tall for Boston College. Black Bears were inches away from getting within one. 3-1 game here in Chestnut Hill. Back in Chestnut Hill, 3-1 lead for Boston College. Friday, it was a lead for Maine before Boston College made it interesting. Stephanie Jacob with 2 goals to lead the charge for the Black Bears. Boston College put up a fight late, Gio.
Yeah, the late goal from Lauren Glazer, 57 seconds left. This unfortunate tip-in from Jade Arnone eventually gets credited to Mackenzie Podwell. Here's the goal from Glazer that made things interesting with under a minute left. Just not too little, too late for BC, and Maine gets its first win against the Eagles since November of 2023. A little bit of history still on the line today for the Black Bears.
Black Bears, if they can come back in this one and get 2 wins against Boston College, it'll be the first time since that 2003 season where the Black Bears have won 2 or more games against Boston College. And again, just trying to ride the momentum. Turnover at the blue line. Glazer was trying to force it back down low to Tremblay, but cut off again, and this leads to a rush the other way. Michaud skates in. Michaud fires that one off the pad of Callaway. And again, the face-off discrepancy continues in favor of Maine.
And BC somewhat hesitant. We have a high sticking down there. Somewhat hesitant to rush in on their own, and Maine does it. That allows Maine to close out. Specifically, Sophia Johnson, the redshirt junior, is able to get the puck when BC kind of has that tension and somewhat of a mental lapse, really.
So it's a minor against Madeline Murphy for the high sticking, and a power play chance coming up for Maine.
See this here, just kind of flicks it forward, on the helmet. Got Gracie Hansen as she was going towards the backboards, and now this becomes a very important opportunity for Maine. You mentioned it earlier. Get one back, and you put BC on edge.
It was Mackenzie Podwell who scored on the power play in the first. Hansen loses that race to Jamie Griswold, and this one's going to pop up at the blue line, taken away by Thomas. Thomas with Tabor on a 2-on-1. Eagles shorthanded. Thomas trying to lift it. Misses the target. Again, it's Thomas. She got taken down on that far circle. And Jacob with a backhanded pass here to Lily Fetch. Just going to allow the Black Bears to catch their breath here on this breakout. Fetch again through the middle. Griswold able to take that one away.
What a shorthanded opportunity for Ava Thomas. You see the speed on display. Makes the right decision, in my opinion, going up for the upper right bin, because you had Ryan onto the blocker side, and Thomas just fired it a little bit wide, whistled it by the netminder.
Thomas, who's had a number of breakaway opportunities this season, has gone low, has gone middle, this time goes high, putting some pressure on Madison Ryan. Sandilands here on the near side, saved by Callaway. It pops back up here into the corner, pass towards Sundby. She'll reset it at the blue line. Sandilands again, down low. Podwell, rebound shot, comes back out, a shot and a score! Couple of loose pucks in front, and Isabel Michaud, the freshman, buries this one on the power play to bring the Black Bears within one.
Well, now 2 power play goals for Maine in this game. First one in a while earlier in the first. Here from Michaud, just an unfortunate bounce off the blocker of Bailey Callaway. Makes a diving effort there. No good on the first attempt from Stevenson, and Michaud, right place, right time. Game on here in this second.
Midway through this one, 3-2 lead for Boston College. Eagles, who have been so good in the second period of games this season, give up a goal here to the Black Bears. And again, you got to go back to that stop on the 2-on-1 for Ryan, who stops Ava Thomas, who also had Sammy Tabor closing in. That could be a big difference maker.
That could be a play you look at. If Maine ends up coming back into this game down the stretch, you're like, what if, right? If BC could have pulled away short-handed, and now it's almost like a 2-goal swing, right? Where Maine gets one back. Now it's 3-2. Now you got a lot of hockey left to play.
She lifts it and goes bar down! Gracie Hansen! It's actually going to be Lulu Rusinski who gets the elevation, and Rusinski has tied the game. Back-to-back strikes for the Black Bears here in the second period.
Right on cue. We were just talking about how much of a difference that shorthanded opportunity from Thomas was, and here Rusinski takes advantage. Another fortuitous bounce right into her
Ball on
stick.
the ice is a Maine goal. Boston College is challenging the play for offside.
So the Black Bears have the game-tying goal from Lulu Rusinski. Boston College on the challenge is going to ask if Maine was offside when they entered the zone. So Katie Crowley getting the conversation from upstairs started. Called over the officials and wanted them to review it.
Obviously a critical review here, but I think regardless of whether this stands, it's a huge swing in Maine's favor. Really struggling to penetrate BC's defense late in that first and through much of this second, and it seems as though that shorthanded miss from Thomas, we're going to get the look here. Is she ahead of the line before the puck? Yeah, really doesn't look close in my opinion. Yeah, I think they've got a case here.
So the left side of this angle you're seeing is the far side of the ice, and then on the near side where the puck entered. So they're trying to time it to see where that puck is. Of course, Jamie Griswold blocking it from our vantage point here on the blue line. But you've got to time it right here. Looks like it might be offside. She's over the blue line on the left side while the puck is still on the blue line on the right side. So
yeah, and both skates have to be over the line before the puck. So that's the critical thing here. Of course, it's got to be clear and convincing evidence. Let's see the call here in just a couple of seconds. I would imagine there wouldn't be a goal here. They'd wave this off.
So we'll get the call as the officials gather together in front of the tunnel. As it stands, 3-3 game.
After review, the play was offsides. Please reset the game clock to 8:32. 8:32.
Well, that's an all-around team effort when you get the call from upstairs to potentially challenge it. Katie Crowley takes the chance, and this is where the offside happens.
We'll just get one more look here. You see, there's the puck across, not completely across, and there are the skates across the line. Offsides and a big break for BC. Now the Eagles have to take advantage.
It's a great job by our production crew here to get those angles, put that together for us, and shows clearly there the play is offside.
Always nice to put on the rules analyst cap every once in a while.
Well, this is going to get interesting, though. Maine has brought their fight back here in the second period, and Boston College can't get caught watching as this one pops up again over the crossbar.
And as deflating as it may be in the moment to have that review not go your way, Maine's got to know that if it continues to reload the forecheck, be aggressive in the O zone, especially I think in the neutral zone around the blue line where that play just took place, I think they've still got momentum on their side as this second period winds down.
Maffeo, looks like that one got blocked by Tremblay as she was just trying to play or position herself on the opposite end of the goalpost, and we're going to get a face-off here. It was touched by the BC bench.
We were even saying before that goal was scored that was just waved off, that shorthanded chance from Thomas not going in seemed to revitalize Maine, and now look at the result.
Got a game here in Chestnut Hill between the Black Bears of Maine and the Eagles of Boston College. 3-2 with 7:38 in the second remaining.
It may seem like a small thing. Tiny helmets, junior jerseys, pint-sized skates, and the little ones carefully finding their rhythm on the ice. But for anyone who's been there, this small thing is very big. It's the love of the game.
At Sullivan Tire, we're proud to salute everyone who helps make small dreams big. Sullivan Tire, we're always here to get you there.
Back in Chestnut Hill, take a look at Grace Campbell, who gets the day off so far here today as Callaway gets her 5th career start, exchanging information there. Take a look at what Grace Campbell has been able to do so far this season. 2nd most saves in all of D1 with over 900. She's made 30-plus saves in 20 of the 27 games played so far this year.
And she's been super busy, right? The first game this season where she hasn't started, Coach Crowley called her the MVP of the team to us this week, and with good reason, right? You see it there, but this could be yes, it is a well-earned rest day for Grace Campbell, but also a play from Coach Crowley to say, hey, let's give Bailey Callaway a try to get a win here, and then let Grace Campbell rest up because they're riding her the rest of the way with some critical games on tap.
That's Giovanni Culotta. I'm Luis Sanchez. Happy to be with you here at Kelly Rink inside the friendly confines of Connie Forum in Chestnut Hill, Massachusetts. Got some women's college hockey here on ESPN+. Crucial conference points on the line here in Hockey East play. All eyes on us here, Gio. No more games across the conference.
And they've seen a really good game. Those people in attendance, those of you watching at home, because these two teams have kind of carried over from that third period on Friday where a bit of a lull in scoring through the first 40 minutes, and then it picks up and both teams explode. 4-3 Maine win, and now the scoring once again coming in through a period and change.
3-on-1 for the Black Bears. Again, just trying to read that one, but Madeline Murphy, an excellent defensive effort. 1-on-3, able to stop the Black Bears. And it leads to Thomas the other way. Good stick check again by Altman. Murphy with a little shove. Again, it's Flynn. Back shot, saved there by Callaway. Sprawled out to make a secondary save as well, and now cleared out to neutral ice.
Fortunate clear there, because Callaway didn't really control the rebound. It spilled into the left wing corner. If that pass got through to the Maine player, it could be 3-3.
Second period that's been dominated by the Black Bears. Again, fed across, and a stick save by Callaway. Wow, what a save by Bailey. Curl from the outside, doesn't go in. Some loose equipment there, looks like a stick on the ice here on the near side. Another feed across, it's gloved down here by Thomas. Thomas has Ham skating forward. Ham with Devlin filling in on the middle. The Eagles almost caught there with too many players on the ice. Ryan, who's done a great job since coming in. 9 saves, no goals allowed in almost 20 minutes of play. Ham fires that one, a little slow puck, able to stick it back into the corner. Fed back in front, shot is going to be just wide by Kate Ham. Maffeo again, trying to start the offense, leaves it for Dempsey. Dempsey in front, looking for a tip from Devlin. Again, Maffeo races to the puck first. I mean, this effort from Olivia Maffeo, she rings it off the post, draws a penalty, back off the far side, and Sandiland's actually going to be a penalty called here as Sandiland's able to touch up for Maine.
There's that gritty physical effort from Olivia Maffeo. Already with a goal in this game, she wants more. BC will be on the power play when we get back.
Bailey Calloway. Worm into the penalty box. We'll explain it when we come back here in Chestnut Hill. Bailey Calloway making some big stops for Boston College. 19 saves so far in her first start of the year. Back in Chestnut Hill, a 3-2 lead for Boston College. The Eagles will be on the power play for the third time here this afternoon. We'll take a look at the penalty, or the chance for Boston College first in the offensive zone.
Yeah, they get the slash here on Reagan Worm. She was a bit confused, looking for it in the box herself, trying to figure out where it came. But just right in front of the goal there on that chance. Get another angle of it here, trying to get it back out. Maine, BC on the forecheck, and yep, there you see the call for the slash.
So it's another power play chance. Eagles 0 for 2 so far. Again, the face-off battle is the number that really sticks out statistically. 27-7 in favor of Maine. Take a look at the power play. Mentioned the Eagles back-to-back seasons where they were over 20% and tops in the Hockey East. This year have fallen back a bit. 11 power play goals, 13.6%.
And the drop-off, I think, at some level has got to be, given credit to on the defensive side for these opponents. Hockey East is a very strong league. A lot of great goaltending all around. We've seen it here today. These two teams, proverbial backup goaltenders, right, have come in and stood on their heads. So, for as much as BC is trying to find their legs with a new roster, you lose Abby Newhook last year. Katie Pine was a stalwart in the power play unit, trying to find a new offensive identity, especially on special teams. And that's where you've seen that major drop-off year over year.
Tabor fires a shot through traffic, comes back out of the circle, and here's a chance going up the ice by Brunette. Brunette trying to get by Murphy, and Murphy able to cut off the angle. Almost a great shorthanded chance for Maine.
Yeah, another late pinch there, and a bad angle, of course. But the other piece we don't mention, Julia Pellerin headed to UConn, the leading scorer in the Conference Hockey's first-team All-Star. That's been a loss that BC's kind of had to fill with Ava Thomas, the freshman this year. So, of course, across this final stretch, it'll be doubly important.
Back down low, looking for Tabor. Comes back, and a shot, and a score! OMG goal! Olivia Maffeo does it again!
One of the better defenders at scoring for BC all season long, having herself a day with the second goal. Off the board here, get it down to Tabor, spinning assist, pop it right by Ryan. I believe it was up the 5-hole, or maybe just onto the other side on the blocker. Great find from Olivia Maffeo. Nose for the net in this game, and BC has a bit of breathing room, right? Felt like Maine dominated most of that second period. The momentum was on for the Black Bears, making the run. They get the goal waved off, play a couple minutes skating back and forth before Maffeo finally gets one by Ryan.
Again, we've talked to Katie Crowley about this, but when Sammy Tabor here in the second half leads a charge, leads a rush into the offensive zone, good things happen. Again, Sammy Tabor with puck control, leads that opportunity into the offensive zone, and Maffeo able to pay it off.
And such a good disher, such a good facilitator, right? Coach Crowley told us that it really hurt not having her against UNH, and you saw what happened a week ago here in this building. Having her out forced the burden on some of those younger kids to pick up the slack, and I think in this Thomas-led offense, she's really become more of a distributor. Of course, Tabor, Hockey's Rookie of the Year a couple seasons ago, among the leading goal scorers in each of her 3 years here at BC. So having her out really kind of took that distribution away from that offense last week.
And you had mentioned, Gio, just trying to find that secondary goal scoring. Tabor is one of those offensive players with all the players that had left Boston College, either graduating or leaving, like Julia Pellerin and Molly Jordan. They had to get some returning production, and Tabor was the leading point getter from a season ago.
Right, from those offenses that had the prolific goal scoring of Julia Pellerin, of Abby Newhook, of Katie Pine, right? And now to kind of slot in to what we talk about, a new offensive identity, much less on special teams, just on 5-on-5, right? It's so critical to find out, and it's really been the whole season that they've had to work through this. Where do you find those new adjustments with players like Tabor taking on different roles, right? And understanding that their responsibilities might be different because this offense runs a different way than it used to, right?
Backhand shot in front, and it goes crashing into the net. There's going to be no goal. They're going to call this one goalie interference. Callaway went crashing in, made the initial save. That was Mara who was pulled out of the net. I think Molly Engstrom is looking for one of the officials to come over. They're going to have a conversation on that far side and maybe do a officials review here.
It's like Emily Mara got shoved into Bailey Callaway.
She's all right. She's laughing on the BC
now,
bench.
And now an explanation likely coming for Molly Engstrom.
Yeah, looks like
for a moment.
Yeah,
oh,
looked
wow.
like
They're going to play on.
The officials were talking about it. We'll take a look here and see where the contact happens, and backhand shot. And right there's where Podwell goes in. So Podwell's the one that makes contact with Callaway. And you got to think Molly Engstrom challenged the play early on Friday, lost the challenge, lost the timeout, maybe a little bit more aware of, hey, maybe something might happen later on in the game that they might need the challenge.
If this is the third period, I think without question, we would have seen the challenge.
This one comes up to Ham. Ham slows it down, trying to feed it across, a little too heavy for Babby. Babby's stick was caught up on Ryan. Chance here the other way. Fed back by Michaud. Jacob, her shot disrupted by Flynn as she came in to block it. Fetch behind the net, spins away from the contact from Kaylin Flynn. Devlin comes over to help for the Eagles. Now cleared back out towards the circle, and Babby looking for some support as she heads to the BC bench. Dempsey again. Trying to get this one away from Maine. Good support coming over from Worm. Creates the turnover, back down low. Ultimate feeds it to the top of the point. Little sauce pass into the corner for Fetch. Thomas trying to win the race there for the Eagles. She was slowed down a bit by Sunby. And now Thomas trying to get by Sunby. Just couldn't complete the play. 1:45 remaining here in the second period. 4-2 lead for Boston College. Back again is Dempsey trying to feed the pass. Looking for Thomas, but it was poked away off her stick. Altmans again working through the middle. Good strength. Allie Altmans back out to the left side here for Fetch. She's pinned to the boards by Emma Connor. And now this forecheck for Maine trying to come alive here late in the second period. They've dominated a majority of this middle frame. It's the Eagles with a late goal here in the second to create a 2-goal cushion. Offside, and we'll get a face-off coming up.
And for Callaway here on this goal that was waved off, take another look at it. It looks like Podwell's stick hits her in the face as she's going to crash the net. You see it right there, just by the front of the stick into the grill of Bailey Callaway. So looks like the right call to have that be goalie interference and the goal waved off. Another big break for BC. We saw an earlier goal that would have tied it at 3-3, waved off due to offside. So Maine could have even had a couple more in this period for as well as the Black Bears have played.
So you talked about how does Boston College respond to the pressure that Maine has now put on them with a 3-2 lead. The Eagles got one back here. Now it's going to be interesting in the third period where Boston College is a -16 this season, how they can make the adjustments to try to close this one out.
Yeah, how jarring is that? Just the drop-off of the first two periods into the third, -16, where they're plus in those first two periods throughout the entire season. Fatigue is going to be a big factor. How many tired bodies are out there, especially on those top two lines? Can BC punch a couple more home to give them the insurance and get out of here with a crucial 3 points?
Back on the near side, Connor got a stick to the face. That's going to lead to another penalty here to close out the period against Maine. Touched up by Jacob. Tabor going to hold on here. Eagles just going to kill off the time at the end of the period, and we'll start the third with a fresh 2-minute power play as time expires after 40 minutes of play.
Another period will start with a penalty. That's exactly how this second period started for Maine. Dominant for a little bit for the Black Bears. BC, though, a huge victory to get out of this with the 2-goal lead restored.
Take a look at the contact as we get final word here from the official. It's a high sticking penalty right there on Emma Connor. And I also think Callaway's stick might have gotten up there as well.
Yeah, couple of things to dole out here. But it looks like they'll be the benefactor there.
Coming up in between periods, you get to know Nikki, Kara Golding's guinea pig. Great story there. And then Charlotte North versus Hannah Bilka and Abby Levy, this time on the lacrosse field. Highlights, stats, and more. Good one here in Chestnut Hill. Isabel Michaud made it 3-2 before Olivia Maffeo, her second of the game and sixth of the season, gave Boston College the 4-2 lead as we head to the break.